How's it going, everybody? David Hedge here, House Hedge Gaming, and welcome to HHG Live to tape. The reason why for this special episode is because today means a whole lot to me. Not just because it's Star Wars Day, but 17 years ago, Cyndi and I went out to go see a movie. And at first, it wasn't a date. Cyndi was going through a rough time. And I asked her if she just wanted to go hang out. And she looked at me and she was like, I'm not looking to date anybody. I'm like, I'm not looking to date either. You look like you just need somebody to talk to and somebody to just hang out with. And while we were out, we went to Texas Steakhouse, had a nice dinner, went to the AMC Theater right in the back of Tanglewood Mall, and went to go see Wolverine Origins. And during that time, Cyndi and I started to hit off a little bit. And that same day, she actually did book herself on a date with a gentleman by the name of Wade, who I knew from Raw Deal and from wrestling camp. And she was like, I feel bad because I had this date with Wade. And I was like, we didn't go on a date. We just went out. Have your date with Wade, and if you need anything, you let me know. When she had that date with Wade, it went completely south. He was not a gentleman. He tried to do some things that made her uncomfortable to the point where she called me and she was like, hey, I need help. And I rescued her from that date. And from that point on, for 17 years, Cyndi and I have been together. And we'll be married 16 years come June 26th. And it's hard to believe that 17 years ago, my life changed for the better. She has been my angel, my rock, my best friend, my partner in crime, my fellow gamer, my fellow geek and nerd, and just everything to me. And she made me a better person, and she's made my life so much brighter. And through our ups and downs, no matter what the world has thrown at us, we have faced it together. We have come out of it a lot better. And we'll continue to do so for many years to come. I still got about another 50, 60, 70 years in me, so I ain't going anywhere. But she's made my life so much more, and she's saved me so many times than she'll ever know. So, to my wife, Cyndi, happy date anniversary. I love you, and nothing will ever change that. I'll love you till the end of time and beyond. Happy date anniversary. And here's to many more to celebrate, my dear. Love you, sweetie. Alright, so today, here on HHG Live, we're going to talk about some of the WWE releases that just recently happened. Again, we're going to talk about what happened at MagicCon. We're going to be talking about Pokemon a little bit and what happened at Target. And then we're going to be talking about Gen Con. There's a new game coming out that's a bag builder that I'm excited about. And of course, Gen Con, the event calendar or the events booklet is already up. So first, let's talk about WWE releases. So, this past week was already a buzz because the 20-some releases that WWE has already done. Now, 4 more releases have taken place. And that was for JC Mateo and Tangaloa from the MFTs, the Bloodline. And the New Day are gone. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Now, these 4 are definitely hitting hard, especially for the New Day. They just celebrated over 10 years. They had one of the best heel turns in a long time for any kind of group, and WWE did not have anything to do with them. And it's a shame because there was so much promise in that heel turn. But JC Mateo just recently was hired last year, now he's gone. Tangaloa was around for a good little bit. And he became like a meme wrestler because Lord knows he's been botched in the ring, but he owns it. But then New Day has made history several times. They had great matches with the Usos and many others, and now all 4 of them are gone. And some people say that Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston were going to be lifers for WWE, but since TKO took over, there's no longer such thing as a lifer in WWE. It's more like Survivor than anything else. But for these 4 wrestlers, House's suggestion and House's wishful thinking. Number 1, for JC Mateo / Jeff Cobb, Lucha Underground is getting ready to start back up most likely, and if you can contact Matanza Cueto, that would be wonderful. Matanza, if you can get a chance to look at any of the Lucha Underground stuff from several years ago, it was a blast to watch. It was great in-ring action, high octane, and the storytelling was top notch, and it was more movie than anything else. But trust me, it was very entertaining. Loved every minute of it, and I'm excited to see if they bring it back. And if they do, awesome. They better bring the old library so we can watch it again. But you can find matches on YouTube, and Matanza Cueto, Jeff Cobb knows him very well. He was a monster, 100%. Loved everything that they did, and hopefully they can make a comeback. As for Tongaloa, hopefully, maybe Underground might be the best fit for him. I think he could do a really good job there, and hopefully he does. As far as Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed, and Kofi Kingston, may there be a new day in AEW. There's a lot of different things you can do there. There's so many different tag teams in AEW. I think you can have some dream matches, the likes of which people have been clamoring for a long time. Please let that happen. But in my opinion, MVP is there. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin's there. The Hurt Business. That might be the business that you two gentlemen may want to get into. Because if you do, that kind of talent, that kind of group has the potential to being this generation's Four Horsemen. This generation's evolution. And I would love to see that. And if that happens, I will be pulling a Homer Simpson here in the house. I'll be watching TV. And if they come together, I'll probably get my wife laughing because I'll be going the entire time because it's going to be great to see it. So hopefully that'll be where they end up. But no matter where these four individuals go, I'm sure that any wrestling company will definitely be thankful to have them on their roster. All right, next up, let's talk Pokemon a little bit and what happened this weekend at Target. So Target had a Pokemon weekend, a Pokemon day on Saturday. They had shelves did up as scenes from Pokemon. They had Pokemon all over the place. Special merch, jackets, hoodies, gloves, pins, bags, you name it, they had it. And unfortunately, scalpers decided to make it a mess to the point to where they even took shelving and are now selling it on eBay. And they're selling the jackets for well over $300. They're selling the buttons. They grabbed everything they could. They made it sure that this was more like sealed Pokemon product than anything else. And I hate that. I hate that scalpers have gotten to the point to where they're just going to take everything they can and hope and pray that they can sell it for 2 or 3 times more than what they paid for it. And I understand times are hard, and I understand people want to make money one way or the other. But you gotta think, like, if you're doing scalping, you're hurting whatever you're scalping. You're basically taking advantage of what people want, and that's not right. And that's just my opinion. The professor at Tulare Community College said it best because Magic is starting to go through that more with the special edition, like the Codex bundle that just recently came out, or is coming out in just a few short weeks. And it's already sold out, and people are already pre-ordering it or pre-selling it for well over 3 times the amount that it should be. And it's a great product. I would have tried to get one if I could, but people are selling it for way more than they should. And in my opinion, that kind of stuff needs to stop. It does take 2 to tango. If there's scalpers out there that sell it for 2 or 3 times the amount, and people that buy it, scalpers will still do it, and it's an endless circle. At some point, it has to be broken. It's a cycle that has to be broken at some point. Because scalpers should not be able to do this and take full advantage of what people want to collect or people want to have to play a game that they want to play. And I don't like that at all. But the professor at Tulare Community College, I'll include the video that he did for the Codex bundle. And he had a very special message for the scalpers. And he said it very eloquently and adequately, and I would much rather for him to say it, and I'll include a link to the video down below in the description so you can find out what the professor had to say to the scalpers that do this for Magic the Gathering, for Pokemon, for One Piece, and any other way scalpers are out there with, no matter if it's card gaming or any type of memorabilia, like sports cards or anything like that. At some point it's got to stop. Because now it's starting to get ridiculous. when you are going to a Pokemon event at Target and you are taking products out of kids' hands and you are just ripping the shelving off so you could sell it on eBay, something's got to give. That's not healthy for any type of hobby, and hopefully things can change soon. I know that conventions are starting to limit what people can bring in as far as sealed product goes. They can bring in classic product, the older product, but if it's anything new, they can't just bring it in and sell it for 3 times the amount, which we've seen at previous shows before. I've seen it personally, and that kind of stuff needs to stop. And hopefully, with conventions doing that and other means, maybe we might be able to have that. But the Target Day, the Pokemon Day at Target should have been a great way to celebrate Pokemon. But instead, a lot of people had product ripped out of their hands because others wanted to sell it for prices that are way more than they should. So, but that's the negative right there I want to talk about. I wish I could talk more Pokemon in a brighter light. There is a new set, Pitch Black, getting ready to come out in July. I'm really excited about that because the marketing for that already looks really good, really dark. And I really love Psychic and Ghost Pokemon, and this set's going to have it. But hopefully I can talk more about that later on. But I did want to give my thoughts about the Pokemon Target thing that happened over the weekend. It's just not right. But anyway, let's go into MagicCon. Let's talk a little bit more upbeat, because a lot of things happened at MagicCon Las Vegas over the weekend that made me really excited about Magic. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to bring up the screen here that I'm looking at. And I'm going to be using Star City Comics and Games because they have a lot of this stuff combined. Made it easier for me to just have everything in one shot so I don't have to go through many different windows to do this. So let's go to the screen right now. Boop. All right. I did it in the first try. Okay, so first off, at MagicCon, they introduced Magic Secret Lair Cats Are the Best, which, by the way, if you did not see in the videos, they had a cat secret lair there. They had a cat cafe, which I think was really cool. They got some little ones adopted, fur babies found forever homes, and now they're going to be associated with Magic, so they got a little bit extra cred. But this one is going to be with Garfield, which is pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of the lasagna loving fat cat. Trixie was basically my in-world equivalent to Garfield. But with this, we're getting some really cool artwork. We got Time Stretch. We have Sheltered by Ghosts, which hits me in the feels a little bit. I guarantee you, Cyndi, when she sees this, she's definitely going to cry, because I guarantee you our former little ones, Velvet and Trixie, are definitely watching over us. And this definitely makes that point, which is pretty cool. We also have Dark Ritual, which is probably my favorite artwork. That everybody's Dark Ritual is on a Monday when you don't have anything but caffeine yet. Aggravated Assault, of course, a lot of cats going after a fish, makes perfect sense. Of course, you have the little kittens right there. I think that was, again, one of the coolest things there. If you're stressing out at the con, go play with some kittens. They'll de-stress you, no problem. But this is going to be coming out soon. June 15th, hopefully, this might be a Kickstarter, or not Kickstarter, a secret lair I'll try and go for. But we'll see what happens. Chances are people are going to buy it up real quick, or bots will get it. But if they do, crap. But if they don't and I'm able to get one, I would love to, because like Time Stretch is a really good card. It can make people a little bit salty, but for 10 mana, it's definitely a bit pricey. Sheltered by Ghosts is a good removal, but it's also great in Standard and good in Commander if you in the right senses. Dark Ritual is classic. Again, love the artwork. And Aggravated Assault's a really good Commander card. And yes, I have seen this kind of thing happen with cats many times. Trust me, I've had cats most of my life. They run, they can jump, and they can attack anything that you put in front of them, especially if you put enough catnip on it. So this is really cool to see, and hopefully it does well, and hopefully I might be able to get one of them. If not, get some singles that I want from the set. Next up, so MagicCon. The preview panel had 3 sets revealed. Of course, we had Reality Fracture, which this has got to be a playmat. Like, I love this. So basically, for Reality Fracture, real quick, because I think it's a little bit later on in the article. Let me see. Yep. So with Reality Fracture, what that is, that Jace has finally decided he's found a way to make the perfect universe without Phyrexia, without Eldrazi, without Nicobolas. But his actions have definitely caused a lot of planeswalkers that we all know and love, like Garruk, Vraska, Chandra, Ajani, and Liliana, to have Echoverse versions. Like Garruk has the Chain Veil. Ajani has definitely gotten a lot darker. Looks like he's going to be black and red. We have a blue Chandra, Chill of Compliance, a white Liliana. Looks like white, maybe like a white-black version of Vraska instead of green-black. This, I'm excited about Reality Fracture. We're going to get a little bit more about that soon. But we go down further. So first off, we had Marvel Superheroes. The Marvel stuff is a bit of a take it and leave it for me. It's one of those things I'll definitely pick and choose if I can pick up stuff for it. The singles, but the Mind Stone, not to be confused with Mind Stone, RA and Magic, will be making its debut in the set. Now, Mind Stone is a really powerful artifact. Of course, it's one of the Infinity Stones. Indestructible, adds white. Pay a white and 5, harness the Mind Stone. You get the infinite ability at the beginning of your end step, exile up to one other target non-land permanent you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. A permanent blink effect, which is, it makes perfect sense with the Mind Stone. And of course, it is the headliner. We get the really cool treatment here, and just, it's going to be a chase card, as all headliners are, and hopefully they'll do some stuff with that. They actually had the gentleman that played Vision, Paul Bettany, that was there at Las Vegas MagicCon, put the Mind Stone into the Thanos Gauntlet on stage, which was a pretty cool touch. We also have Vision that was previewed, both Vision and Vision Synthezoid Avenger, which the Synthezoid Avenger does make use of phasing. Excellent touch on that. And the regular Vision has Flying and Vigilance for a 2/5 for 4. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. The Vision gains Double Strike, the Vision gains Indestructible, or draw a card. Really good big body for a Flying Vigilance, and plus for 4 mana is not bad, and it has a good assortment of abilities, and I really do like that design on Vision. And for this one here, it's flying whenever your player casts a spell. If it isn't that player's turn, choose one, put a +1/+1 counter on Vision. Vision phases out. So it gives them a bit of protection. If they want to get rid of Vision, they have to do it on their turn, not on yours. Next, we have The Hobbit. Now, The Hobbit basically is the prelude to Lord of the Rings, where we have Bilbo and the Dwarven party trying to go to Lonely Mountain, retake the treasure that is being held by Smaug. Part of that treasure is the Arkenstone, which we get in this. So there's a lot of things that are going on with this set. So they previewed an unexpected party. It creates dwarves and pumps up a creature type +2/+2. Both the artworks are amazing here because you have the Dwarven party, and then of course you have Bilbo regretting the Dwarven party actually showing up. With this, I really love this card. The artwork's going to be great for it, and plus with the set itself, it's The Hobbit. It fits perfect with the Magic the Gathering setting. You can honestly see the dwarves gathering around and possibly being in some other setting in the Magic universe. We have Tom, Bert, and William. These trolls were trying to make a dinner out of the party, but then Gandalf was able to trick them a little bit before the sun came up, and then they became stone. And this card represents that perfectly. A 5/5 for a green, a black, and 3. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, and then discard a card. But when they die, they come back as an artifact, if they were a creature. This was very flavorful. I think this is a really great design for them, and I can see some people doing some shenanigans with it. Being able to draw some cards for bigger creatures, you dang right. That's going to be a lot of fun to do. So it's a bit of a, somewhat of a greater good, like a minor greatness, I don't know. But I do love that design. And then, of course, with design, we have My Precious. which is the One Ring before it became the One Ring. Actually, I better do that right. It's my precious. For a 3 mana artifact, it can be equipped for 2 and paying 2 life. Equipped creature has hexproof and can't be blocked, but you also can send it on adventure, which is making its return in The Hobbit. With the Allure of Power, sacrificing a creature to draw 2 cards at instant speed for a black and 1 seems pretty good to me. I do like the Dragon Horde frame on these cards too. I think that was a really great touch, because this is the kind of treasure you could find in the Lonely Mountain where Smaug is at. We have Riddles in the Dark, where Bilbo is trying to basically get away from Gollum, Smeagol, Gollum before he became Smeagol, after obtaining the ring that Gollum thought that he had and that he lost. This one's really good. It's a take on Factor Fiction for Blue and 2. And then we have Wood Elves making its return after a long hiatus out of Standard. And Wood Elves make perfect sense in The Hobbit, especially with the flavor text here. After the coming of humans, the Wood Elves took ever more and more to the gloaming and the dusk. Still elves they were and remained. That is, good people. I'm definitely picking up some copies of this for Commander decks because it's a great land searcher for forests. And we have a lot of different options for forest cards now than we did back then. And of course, you're going to be getting different treatments for cards like Bilbo, and you're going to be seeing the different evolutions of these characters all throughout. But the one I'm really excited for is Smaug the Magnificent, because that is the headliner. It's gleaming gold. This one is limited to about 500, even though it's not serialized. But this makes perfect sense, even though it is the big bad villain for the story. This is the treasure you want to seek. Plus, it is a great card anyway. It's a 4/3 flyer with haste for 2 red and 2. When Smaug attacks, he deals damage equal to the number of treasures you control at a target, to a target, aka thank you, Mr. House now has another finisher. And at the beginning of your upkeep, create a treasure token. Academy Manufacturer's new best friend is right here. We do also have the Arkenstone in the set, where you can either search for a legendary creature, put into your hand, and creature control get +1/+1, and you get to draw a card at the end step for 5 mana for a legendary artifact. And this does have the book cover treatment, which I really do enjoy those treatments on the cards. It makes thematic sense with it being J.R.R. Tolkien. Again, we have Bilbo, Thief in the Night. We have Thorin, Mountain King, that is getting a preview here. But this right here, the One Ring. Unfortunately with this, even though, yes, it is a box topper, you're able to get this in the box toppers. They're reintroducing those for The Hobbit. And yes, it is a great card or a terrible card, depending on how you look at it, depending if you're playing with it or against it. But Dan Frazier admitted that he used a lot of the elements from the original One Ring card from Lord of the Rings, and he basically went, hey, this, I was trying to take reference from it, but instead he used a lot of it more than he should have. There's a full statement from Dan Frazier and a full statement from Wizard of the Coast about this card. He apologized for taking the artwork and just making minor touches to put it into the game. Now, they will be doing a new digital version coming up with a Magic Arena and MTG Online, and hopefully it looks, I'm sure they'll do a great job with that, but it's a shame that we're just going to be getting this one, even though I love the original artwork for the Lord of the Rings version. I'm sorry that Dan Frazier went that route, but I'm glad he admitted and Wizards addressed it before anything else happened. But we're getting classic artwork in the box toppers for cards that came out in Lord of the Rings. And Tom Bombadil's one. I love this. Jolly old fellow right there. And then, of course, you have Sauron the Dark Lord to balance out the silliness of Tom Bombadil, the seriousness of Sauron the Dark Lord. Both these artworks look amazing, and I can't wait to see what they look like in person. They look great, and see what other cards they come up with for the set. And then we have the Journey Lands, which gives you the journey through all the different lands that the Lucky 13 go through. We have Seasonal Lands making their return, which is fantastic. I love the Hobbit's look right here for the plains. And then you have all the product. Now, the only issue I have with the product is that we do not have Commander decks with it, which I think is a really bad misstep, in my opinion. They should have done commander decks with this. You have the Battle of the Five Armies. You have five. You could do 5 commander decks for that, and they didn't. So hopefully they'll do something to remedy that or make up for it. It looks like we're going to be getting a Battle of Five Armies kit in 2027. Maybe that might be somewhere they can put commander stuff in. I don't know. But we are getting the pre-release kits, the collector boosters, scene cards, all that good stuff. So we have all of that coming out very soon. The only issue I'll have with the Seal product is the prices on it, because they do increase the price about $40-50 from what you get with in-universe. Universe Beyond, they charge a bit more. So a lot of this, I'll probably find the singles for the stuff I want to get. But there is a lot of great stuff in here. And of course, to top it off, we have the Dwarves. They'll be getting Dwarven language cards, including Arcane Signet. I love this card. I love that it's Arcane Signet for one, but this has to be my favorite one due to the fact that it's the signet that Gandalf put into the door for the dwarves to know, hey, this is where we need to meet up. And I think that's really cool. But the set comes out August 14th. They will be doing a pre-release event at Gen Con for it. But from what I've seen so far, the price on that's going to be a lot pricier than your LGS. And just makes me wonder why. Hopefully there's like some extra stuff going on with that. And then finally we have Reality Fracture, which, by the way, this is badass. I'm just going to say that right now. Original Garruk, Curse Breaker, and then you have the Veil Breaker. Both these are going to be really powerful in my opinion. I just wonder which kind of Garruk they're going to be making. Hopefully it'll be a new one, since we haven't had Garruk around for a long time. But as I said before, in this set, this is the culmination of the storyline where Jace is remaking his own universe. And now it's a battle to see if it's the Echoverse that will carry on or the multiverse that will triumph. Now, this reminds me more of Planar Chaos and Future Sight, because now we're getting a bunch of what ifs. And the coolest thing about this is that with the what ifs, in the booster packs, for every character, you're getting the character we all know and love, and then we're getting the what if version. So you're getting both those in the same pack. So for example, if you get Chandra Torch of Defiance, you're getting Chandra Chill of Compliance, so you could do the comparison between the two. And then we are getting the Headliner Bloodline Recollector, which is the Echoverse version of Emeritus of Ideation, and we're getting Ancestral Craving instead of Ancestral Recall. So for a black instant, target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. Now, this does not come in prepared, but then again, it's a 2 mana for a 2/2. It would have been very broken if you were able to do that right off the bat. But I can see some Aristocrat builds using this to be able to prepare and get some good value out of the Recollector when it comes out. It's a serialized card, X of 500. Artwork's amazing. It's by the wonderful Mark Poole. And this set looks like it's going to be a blast to play. Of course, we have Hexhaven instead of Strixhaven, so we get the other side of the schools that we were hoping to get. So we'll get Fatehold, Therix, Stingerquill, Constrari, and Vigor Bloom. And I can't wait to see what these schools will entail. And of course, we get Stingcaster Mage with the shattered image here, which I love this, because you're getting to see the counterpart in the glass. So Stingcaster Mage, Snapcaster Mage. Excellent idea for whoever thought that up. And then we're getting the products, of course. We're getting the play boosters, pre-release kits, bundles. We're getting a Secret Lair bundle, which has mythics from the set. They'll have Secret Lair treatments, so there's more information coming out with this later. We have the Draft Knight, we have collector boosters, and we have a commander deck, which I'm interested to see how this is going to go. Of course, Jace will be the poster child for that one. And see if this may be his own Gatewatch. Who knows? But I'm really looking forward to this set. I think it's just going to be a magnificent set to look at. And it's going to be fantastic to see where they take this after the Echoverse. Because after Reality Fracture, we have Star Trek. So this will be the last Magic set for the year. But boy, are they going to be going out with a bang. And of course, I mentioned before the One Ring, the Dan Fraser issue that they had with this that came up. So as you can see here, yeah, that comparison, unfortunately, like I said, I'm glad he owned up for it, but I wish we could have seen his own take on the card. I know he tried to draw inspiration from the One Ring, uh, from this one here, but he's a talented artist. He should have known better. Like, I understand that he wants to take inspiration from different areas, but this time he definitely took it a little bit too far. But luckily, like I said, they addressed it. They're going to get it taken care of, and we'll go from there. And this is the full message here. Um, Again, this is on Starcy Games website, but it's posted on other places if you want to take a look there. Alright, so that's everything from MagicCon. So now let's go into a little bit of Gen Con. So, in my Gen Con research, I came across The Brave and the Bold, a bag building combat game from Resurrection Games. This does have, let me accept all. So this does have a lot of feel with Wonderland's War. And you'll see that in just a sec here. But it includes 8 different characters. Each one has their own different storage containers here, which a la Dice Throne or stuff like Unmatched here. But you have your character boards. You'll be able to improve different abilities and everything like that. And again, like I said, it looks similar to Wonderland's War, but I don't know how it's going to play yet. We'll see how it goes. It's definitely going to be like a combat system type deal. But you have Superman, you have Lex Luthor, the Mastermind, you got I Am Batman, the Cape Crusader himself, we have the Flash. That's too big, that's too much. Let me exit out of that. Sorry about that, I made that a little bit bigger than I should have. Alright, let me go back here. We do have some generic bags here with the different, with the rule book and all that. Little pamphlets, thank goodness for that. Again, good lord. Alright. But the characters we have also, like I said, Batman, we have Wonder Woman, we have Clayface, which is pretty cool because the Clayface movie's coming out in October. We have Lex Luthor, we have Darkseid, we have the Flash, we have Cheetah, and we have Joker. Now, for everybody at Resurrection Games, if you can include Joker and Harley at some point, I'd greatly appreciate it. This event, they're going to be having events where you can play and take, so you can get Brave and the Bold at Gen Con. So the events are on the registration event catalog that you'll be able to get when you go to Gen Con. So definitely register for that if you want to. And that's coming up in less than 12 days. Speaking of, last but not least for Gen Con, of course, the events calendar is already up. And they have a wide range of games ready to go. World's Greatest Karaoke Style. Okay. But let's actually take a look at something here, because let's take a look at Magic the Gathering. Because usually for these events, Magic usually takes a little bit of time. But it looks like they have a lot of the Magic stuff already up. So for Magic, we have everything from Mini Masters, which is a free event. If you can get into them, awesome. They do have boss monster battles. We have 2HG. But let's see here if we can find. Alright, so On Demand Swiss draft. Magic the Gathering. So $34 for a draft. That's definitely a bit pricier than most. Sealed is $44. The Hobbit and Tales of Middle Earth. Okay, this is basically going to use both the sets. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, prices for events are definitely a bit up there. They're doing a pre-con chaos, $90. Okay, so $90 for a pre-con chaos, $80 for a pre-release sealed. So that standard sealed with the exclusive playmat, collector sealed for $240. A lot of these, like, I'm gonna have Commander decks with me at Gen Con, and I'll be more than happy to play Commander with anybody throughout the entire weekend. But some of these events I may I don't usually get into many Magic events at Gen Con because I can play Magic events around the area, or I can play it at home. But for anybody that gets in these events, hopefully you'll be able to find one that you want to get into, because it is going to be they're going to be very popular. I can definitely say that. Anything like the Champ 2 qualifiers, stuff like that, it's going to be a lot of fun. Just for me, the price points right now, a little bit up there for me, but Then again, like I said, I usually go Gen Con to try and do other events that I'm not normally able to do. So, for example, let's go True Dungeon here because that one's up. So for True Dungeon, you're going to be looking at $88 to $98. With True Dungeon, yes, one thing that always comes up, it is pricey. However, you got to take into account the costumes, the sets, the time it takes for them to make these worlds and for these rooms that you go through. And it's an escape room environment and everything. You are getting character experience. If you have a character that's been going through for a while, you're able to get starters into the game. But it truly pays off if you've been somebody who has gone through these games and have definitely built up a character over time. If you go in to check it out once, in my opinion, it's worth checking out at least once. I know that they've have some games where it's like beginner friendly, to where it's like, hey, if you're brand new to this system, come in, check it out. And I believe it's like the $88 one for Fang and Fury. Let's check it out here. A fun gothic themed intro adventure. So yeah, this is where you can get into True Dungeon. And it's one of those, like I said, it's a fun event. It's 4 rooms rather than 5. You get 10 treasure tokens, at least 3 random treasure pools, which some of those can be really good and worth a little bit of money if you're looking to just get something to possibly sell or trade while you're at the convention. But all in all, it is a great experience to go through, at least to check out once, because you're able to meet a lot of amazing people. The community for True Dungeon is something else, and I'm very fortunate that I was able to work with them, and hopefully I'll be able to do it soon. I haven't gotten any word. It's looking like I'm not going to be able to, but if that's the case, I'll just buy my badge and be ready to roll. But one more thing we'll look at here. Let's look at Brave and the Bold. The bag building games. They should have this up. Or not. So it might be Brave and Bold here. Because I might be able to look it up that way. If not, Resurrection Games. Yeah, DC Brave and Bold bag building combat. So for these, the demos are free. It looks like the Learn to Play and Keeps $24. That's not bad. If you're able to play a game for $24 and be able to take it with you, I think that's going to be amazing. And of course, they're going to be doing Superman versus Lex Luthor. Why not have that be the first matchup that you get to play? You take your copy home to keep playing and skip the line for guaranteed pickup. So this is actually a really good idea by them, and I'm sure it's going to sell out. This is going to be one of those events I will get into. It's only an hour long, and I think that it's definitely a great idea, like I said, by them to do something like this for the game, so people can actually go learn it, take it home, or take it to their hotel room and start playing it. And I'm really looking forward to that one. That and so much more that will be happening at Gen Con this year. Alright, so let me get back to my beautiful face here right now. Alright, so that's everything that I want to talk about. So, we talked about releases, Pokemon, the Target issue, a lot of things that happened to MagicCon, a lot of things that happened to Gen Con, and a brand new game, and there's so much more that's going on. Real quick, just behind the scenes here at HHG, still working on a lot of stuff. We have our last video for the HHG Challenge Series Dice Throne Edition this Friday, and then next Monday, live, I'll be announcing who gets the belt, and who is the inaugural HHD Tabletop Champion. HHD? Yes, Hedge High Definition. HHG Tabletop Champion next Monday. And then we might actually switch things up a little bit for HHG Live. Might switch to a different day, but I haven't fully decided. But if I do, I'll make sure to announce it ahead of time so all of you are ready for that. And then the 2 weeks that Cyndi and Hannie are gone in the UK, expect to see a lot of me on here in various ways, whether it be through streams or through videos that I'm working on now, and so much more. But thank you all so much for checking out this video, this special HHG Live to tape. and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let everyone know that House Hedge Gaming is here for all of your gaming needs as we continue the countdown, or now start the countdown, to Gen Con 2026 and everything we have here at House Hedge Gaming. But until next time, everyone, stay safe and take care, my friends.